So good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending this morning's webinar, Time-Saving Data Tips. I'll begin by briefly going over the agenda for the morning. We'll begin by going over the proper use of the Add Another Choose feature, after which we'll touch briefly on how to quickly close out clients and enter um, their post-survey answers. And with that said, we'll go ahead and get started. So you'll notice that I'm within VistaShare now. I've brought up the Simpson family, and from this point, you'll notice that it, of course, defaults at the Edit tab, but where we are wanting to go is right over here to the Family Members tab. Go ahead and we'll click that. And then off to the right side here, you'll notice what I like to call the family tree, and that's the list of the different family members within the family record. Here you'll notice Homer Simpson is selected. He's the primary caregiver. And in this scenario, we're going to enroll Homer in individual counseling. So to do that, again, you'll notice that he's already selected. And so with that, we'll just drop on down here to this link where it says Enroll Homer Simpson in Activity. We'll go ahead and click on that. And then you'll notice that the activity search screen popped up after we clicked the link. And since we want to enroll Homer in a counseling service, just to save a little time, we'll type in COU, short for counseling, into the description. We'll double check that the activity type is set to fax services. Make sure all the filters are as they should be. For instance, provider, it should default at all. Same with created from. And the begin and end date filter should be defaulting at a blank state. So if that's all good, we'll go ahead and hit go. And then you'll notice individual counseling came up. Now for your guys' sites, typically you'll have a number of counseling services to choose from, so you'll want to make sure you're clicking on the right service. So in this case, we'll click on individual counseling. So when that loads up, you'll notice the enrollment screen for the service. So we'll start by clearing the begin date and entering whichever date that might be for your client. In this case, we'll just go with October 17th, 12. The provider should default to whatever the provider is for that service at your site. So in this case, that's correct for us. Staff name, you'll want to choose the staff name of the staff member that's working with that client. And then, of course, child not assessed due to age. In this case, Homer's an adult. That doesn't apply, but if it did, you would go ahead and make use of that feature. And the client type, again, adult. And kind of just a tip to go by or best practice. Try to stick towards the fields on the left side when you're doing the enrollment, just because it makes life a little easier. And I'll explain that in a little more detail here in a second. But of course, you would go down and fill out all of the survey questions here for the pre-test or pre-survey. And once that's done, let's go to kind of double check, make sure everything's as it should be. And what I like to do is I like to clear out the enrollment end date, just because at this point the client's still in the service and there hasn't been an end date, so just kind of leave that blank. And you don't have to mess with anything on the or the other fields on the right side until you close out that client. So we'll just go back down the bottom, make sure everything's filled out, and then typically you'll use the update and close feature, but in this case we'll use the add another choose. Click on that. And we're using the add another choose just because in this scenario, let's say we want to also add Marge Simpson, Homer's wife, to individual counseling. So we'll clear out the name there. And then if you'll notice over here back at the family tree area, Marge Simpson, or sorry, the IDs, and then the ID for Marge Simpson is right here. You can either just keep it within view and kind of just transcribe that over here, or you can cut and paste. But just to kind of demonstrate, if you were to cut and paste, the activity enrollment screen or the search window kind of drops out of view, and that's fine. But what you'll have to do is go back to your web browser screen at the bottom and open up this window again. since I cut and paste, go ahead and paste it. And let's see. There it goes. You might have to click around the screen or hit enter, but Marge eventually pops up, or whatever client you were pasting the ID for would then pop up. And again, you can also manually enter that, but now we have Marge here, and you'll notice that individual counseling is still on screen. So again, we want to enroll her, so we'll click the link. And now you'll go through the same process that you did a moment ago with Homer, but now with Marge. Fill out all the appropriate fields. And once more, we'll click on the Add Another Choose feature, just because let's just say we want to enroll Marge here in another service. Let's just go with dental service. So we'll use DEN for dental service. Same applies in this search with the fields or filters. So hit go, and you'll notice dental services pops up. Click on that, and with this particular service, since they typically run, for a single day, you'll type in the day there, and it'll be the same day for the beginning and end date. Oops, let me clear that. Yeah. Okay. Then you would select the provider, which again should default. You'll leave hours alone. And at this point, you can click the Update and Close button, just because we've kind of gone over the Add Another Choose. And there you go. And you can double check the enrollments for the services by scrolling down and looking at the activities portion of the screen for Homer and then Marge. Once she loads, there she goes. Scroll down, dental services. Now, typically you're not going to have a double enrollment, but this was from a previous training. But okay, so at this point, we'll now switch gears and show you how to quickly close out a client.
So, as Chris mentioned, we will now show you how to quickly close your clients in the database and how to quickly enter your post survey answers. We will do this by going through the Activities tab. Click there. At this point, you can choose your service, whether it be the counseling services, PEP, or parenting classes. For today's example, we will continue using the individual counseling service that we have already built here in our pretend data. And as we can see, we have 17 enrollments. We'll go ahead and click on the name of the service. And at this screen, click on the Enrollment tab. At this point, we will see a long list of clients that are enrolled. Again, in this case, there are 17 enrollments for the individual counseling, ABC 2011-2012. At this point, we only see the system ID, the person who is enrolled, the begin and the end date. You can see that some of the clients do not have an end date, and that would be a way of knowing which clients are still open. You can go ahead and enter the end date if you have it at the moment and you know which are the clients that you want to close. You can do it at this screen, but also you can go ahead and click on the client's name. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Joe Adams. And I can see that for some reason, this is another way that you can check that for some reason the client does have a post survey answered. However, it is missing the rest of the information, like the enrollment end date. And we will choose to do it December the 10th of 2011. Also, the number of sessions, and because we would have our proper documentation, I'm going to say that this person attended 5 sessions. You can go ahead at this point, click Update and Close. So again, this is a good way for you to recheck because I knew that I had already entered this post-test and he was supposed to be already closed, and that would be one way. Another way, like I said before, it would be entering your post-test answers. In this case, Meredith, great. I know that I'm going to close her out, so I'm going to click and enter the enrollment end date. And for this purpose, I will do October the 1st of 2011. The case status will be completed because Meredith did complete the service, and I'm going to say that she attended 5 sessions again, and click on the funding category as it applies. Then quickly enter, and I'm going to just go skim through them, but of course you will be entering real data at this point. So you get the gist, and once we're done, we again hit Update and Close. And you can continue doing this for all of your clients. Another neat thing that I want to show you is that you can, instead of seeing all of the clients, because it could very well be that you're the only person who provides the service, in this case counseling, but we're going to pretend in my case I am not the only counselor, and these 17 clients here or enrollments are not all mine. So I want to find out which ones are mine and only see my clients so that this list right here narrows down. In real life, I'm assuming that you have more than 17 clients at one point, so this list becomes very long, and it would be easier to screen through a shorter list. In this case, what I will do is I'm going to add another column here for my display option. So I'm going to add another one, which will be who the staff member is. For that purpose, I hit the Control button while clicking on staff name. Then hit Go, and an extra column should appear, which will indicate who the staff member is. And the filters were not clear, so I apologize for that. Okay. Now, as you can see, the extra column was added here, but now I can see that there are several people who are in charge of the services. But because I only want to see mine, pretending this is a longer list, I would just hit where it's under the staff name, I hit Not Filter, click on it, and then equals to, and find my name in the list. In your case, you will just find yours, hit Filter, and now only the clients that I am serving will appear at this point. By clicking where it says Clear Filters, then all of the enrollments will appear. Also, this is a good way, for instance, to see that Marge Simpson does not have a staff member that was selected here. So this is another way that you can quickly, at a glance, in one window, you can see all of the clients and see things like this. Okay, so I know that we're going to pretend again. I know Marge Simpson is my client, and I'll go ahead and just update that portion without having to open the entire survey. Although it is recommended that you can open the service to completely see what other fields are missing, or by adding more columns, such as the provider, again by clicking on the Control key and clicking on provider, and that would add that extra filter with the provider name, so on and so forth. You can also shorten it, and same thing, you just on-highlight pretty much the columns that you don't want to show in the bottom, and then you will see how it displays. This portion, or these kinds of tips that we have given you, are for you to go ahead and do this in a quicker time and all in one screen, rather than having to go into each individual record and having to go back and forth, back and forth. This concludes our session of the day. We hope these are all helpful tips, but as always, please feel free to contact us either through email or phone call. Thank you very much.